What's happening, guys? It's Spark here, and welcome to episode 3 of my Team Career Mode series. We find ourselves in Austria after a somewhat catastrophic episode what happened last time. I'll leave a link up to the top of the window for you guys to go see. And if you're new around here, then obviously do get subscribed and hit that notification bell icon to join my Team Career Mode series. And also be sure to join my Discord as well. I will leave that in the chat as well, just so you can get involved on the decisions made in this series. And speaking of which, after the vote I casted last time, you guys have cast your votes and you want to see more development on the chassis. Well, that is exactly what you're going to be getting. As you see, we're going to do a monocoque structure upgrade on this car, and with this, that's really going to help us really reduce the overall weight of the car, and as you'll find, it's an absolute boat. But sadly, as we've seen on the screen, some of our aerodynamic developments have failed. And like I said before, we're not going to waste time with the rear cam. We're going to go straight into this. And also, we got a power unit upgrade, which has failed as well. And that is not helping us at all in terms of progressing this car forward. We've got some resource points available, so we are going to spend them on trying to sort out some of these failed upgrades. I know you guys wanted chassis, but we got one big upgrade coming with the monocoque, hopefully. So I'm going to use that to at least guarantee some aerodynamic upgrades going forward. But I think in between now and the next episode, what I'll try to do is save a little bit of money for some upgrades. But anyway, we've got the Pirelli Hot Lap challenge that's come on this video. We have got the average speed zone challenge in the Mercedes GT Black. And funny enough, this is the only time I've driven a car in the wet on this game. As you guys know from my previous videos, I do not like the wet. I really should get into it though, because undoubtedly it will make you a better driver. And the best Formula 1 World Champions are the ones who can best drive in the wet. Unlike what I've just done there and completely lose the back end, with our first attempt we only just got a silver, which is 94.23 miles an hour. So we gave it another run for round 2, see if we can get a little bit closer to it. I mean, I really want to get the gold if I can, but seeing as it's the wet, I'll happily take a silver. But all things considered, it's quite a strong one for us. We have to get on the power, but the back end steps out. Are we going to get the miles an hour challenge? No, we're not. Looks like we just missed that one by 0.06 miles an hour. And I'm not even going to show the third one, because as you would have seen on the times in front, it was catastrophic. We're going to settle for the silver. I'm not too disappointed about that. It was a pretty hard challenge, all things considered. But coming now into practice, one thing I found, especially just trying to get to grips with this car, as you know, it's an absolute boat to drive. It feels so heavy. But this particular corner, I'm really struggling to get the car slowed down. I did a few runs on time trial to set myself up, but it's an entirely different rhythm compared to what you get in the Team Career Mode car. But nevertheless, we did manage to do all the practice sessions, so that will please the sponsor. And the team acclaim and whatnot is slowly going up for our team. And even Piastri was helping give that little bit of resource points in there. So fair play to him. So with the extra resource points we have, we're going to go back and sort out our failed upgrades. So that's one on the aero and one on the power unit. But now, everything else will be centered more towards the chassis part, just as you guys voted in the Discord. I know, like I said, you guys vote for that, but it's free upgrades. I know the ones I'm definitely going to get. So I'm going to take them once I've got. But anyway, we're going to get round into qualifying, and I'm not feeling too confident on this track, because like I said before, I did some practice on time trial, but the car rhythm is so different, and it really affects your behavior in terms of what you can do in trail braking and just throwing the car into corners and whatnot. But as for us, that was a pretty steady entry. We're going to show a little bit of our first run, and generally I thought this one felt generally okay, but but those failed upgrades have hurt us. So I was expecting that to shave at least a couple of tenths, but it's so hard for the car to sway the way when you want it to. I know the suspension that I'm running is a little stiff, but we need that aerodynamic stability. Since that there's a lot of sweeping corners, especially now with the reprofiled middle corner, which has gotten rid of the chicane that was there before, and it's just one long straight. It's definitely getting me some Saudi Arabia vibes coming from it, but as we come across the line, it's only a 19.7, which puts us behind Mick Schumacher. But once we come near to the end of the session, it's only good for 17th place. So we're going to have to go all the way back out again if we are going to make sure that we're going to qualify in Q2 for this qualifying session. That opening corner was already much better. Got about a tenth of spare time out of that. But generally, I think the rest of the site was a little bit difficult. I usually get on trail braking a lot and locking the car up sort of minimally, trying as much as I can. But as you come round to, this was the kind of I was talking about. There's a lot of high-speed corners. I know these basically are not turns, but it's really the high-speed corners that there's quite a lot of. So I try to emphasize them as much as I can. But we haven't really actually improved a lot. And this is going to hurt us because everyone else is surely going to improve. But even for us, we have to turn in early because the back of the car will just not cope with the horrid change of direction that we're going to throw on this thing. But to come across the line, it's only a 19.5. So that's not going to get us the line. In fact, it's not even going to set us at the grid order. We are down in 19th place like the bottle job I am. But on the bright side, Oscar Piastri gets through, so fair play to him. But that was a disastrous qualifying round for us. It's so much so that it's lowered my driver acclaim in between the races, which is a massive shame for us. But let's hope we can get something back during the race.
You can hear the Australian fans roaring as they line the track here in Albert Park. Welcome to Melbourne, and the roar from the crowd can only mean one thing. It's race day. The Melbourne circuit is certainly one that needs to be taken seriously. It's a combination of slippery surfaces and difficult corners, making it a very tricky track when it comes to overtaking. Drivers find it hard to pass and will need to take full advantage of those DRS zones if they want to have any hope of breaking through. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Perez, George Russell and Hamilton, Bottas, Fernando Alonso, Tsunoda and Oscar Piastri, Mick Schumacher, Magnussen, Daniel Ricciardo and Joe, Vettel, Norris, Pierre Gasly, the owner driver, Ocon, Stroll, Latifi and Alex Albon picks up the last spot on the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. Natalie Pinkham.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
Ah, well done to Piastri. He's through into 10th place. So Piastri's given us a real good chance of getting points. So in terms of race strategy, we're only gonna leave just enough fuel in the car. I think based on how last race went, I don't think the fuel consumption was that bad. In terms of strategy, I mean, okay, there's quite a variance in strategy between the hard and the softs. We're starting on the softs or mediums rather. So about 3/10 in it, but we're going to go for the more conservative option because I want the tyre life just before the end of the race, just in case anything major happens, and in case there's no safety cars rather. But in this track, that safety cars are certainly aplenty. But who knows what's going to happen with safety cars today? As all 5 lights come on, it's almost go time in Down Under. And it's away we go, and it's an okay start for us, overtaking everything on, and there's a good start for Gasly behind us, and Stroll in front of us is an absolute mega start. But we're going to go around into the first corner, do the customary dive bomb, take it very easy on the exit, because it's so easy to lose this car, and we're just fighting with Lando Norris. We've gained 2 places, which is a brilliant start for, actually no, we gained 1 place, we started in P18, let's come down into the new reprofiled turn 3, and it's so much easier to turn into. We get ahead of Norris, and that puts us into P16, just behind Zhou Guanyu, as we put ourselves in space now in between that and the McLaren. The McLaren's really not that quick around this track, as everybody files through that now much faster, as Lando tries to go around on the outside of us. Almost he pulls it off there. But as for us, we're going to steal a toe from the Alfa Romeo and use this a little bit more energy just so we can clear the McLaren. Hopefully the draft should carry us forward alongside with the overspeed when deploying all that energy. We're getting a little bit through Constantina, but we drop down to about 4th gear, which really doesn't help us coming off the exit. And that's going to give the McLaren yet another shot of an overtaker coming down into the tighter corner. And look at that! dive bomb from us to overtake 2 cars in 1 corner. So that's Zhou Guanyu and Sebastian Vettel absolutely mugged by my dive bomb going through there as we come down to around the end of the first lap. It's certainly been an eventful one for us, but if we keep going this way, it's who's to say that points are on the table for us. And speaking of, we're getting a little bit closer to that tally by about lap 4. We've got Kevin Magnussen ahead of us, who is fighting Daniel Ricciardo, and Ricciardo very bravely starting on the soft compound tyre, but he's going to have to pit very, very early, and those hards are going to have to do quite a lot of laps, so he's going to have to tyre save by quite some margin, as him going slowly is actually pushing Magnussen into us, but we're going to get DRS to at least cover from anything that Zhou Guanyu could throw at us, because that Ferrari has got such a powerful engine. As we're going out to the inside of Kevin Magnussen, and we retake 13th place, as now we got the one of the home heroes, Daniel Ricciardo, to pass, who is also trying to make his way past Yuki Tsunoda. Solid lap from us, because you hear the locking of the car through that tight left-hander. I know the apex has been widened, but even still we're finding it difficult to drive in this car because there is just so much weight being thrown around for this thing. Hopefully with these upgrades we can sort out the balance as quickly as possible, as we've got the home hero in our side to go down to the inside of what is quickly becoming our favourite overtaking manoeuvre. We touch his front wing somewhat, but it's 12th position for us as we get ahead of Daniel Ricciardo, and behind Magnussen now gets ahead of Daniel Ricciardo. The home hero is not having it well in his home race. Just classic Australian luck there, which sadly means for him he is down in 14th place, as his teammates not too far behind him as well. As you see, Oscar Piastri is up ahead fighting Valtteri Bottas, which is now pushing him back into Fernando Alonso. He's also started on the soft compound tyre, so Piastri is being very, very brave in his choice, but hopefully this guy can get some points. He did very well last time out in Saudi Arabia to bag us 8 points, where I kind of bottled it, but Alonso on those meetings is going to have significantly more tyre life, because these softs burn out so quickly. I think you could throw all the tyre upgrades in the world, but it will not save you in terms of how fast these cars will get, and it will balance eventually the tyre wear. As Fernando Alonso goes round to the outside of Oscar Piastri, does he make the move stick? And it's very hard to get the overtake down there, but it looks like he's got the car ahead just. And he's still going around the outside almost the way onto the final 2 corners. And that's Alonso ahead of Oscar Piastri on the end of lap 7. Piastri's having a tough time in his home race, as he's now the lead car of a train in front of us, Tsunoda and Mick Schumacher on the start of lap 9. As we come round into the fast section, the tight, almost quite twisty section that, like I said before, is giving me massive Saudi Arabia vibes. But we have got overtaken everything on. We could even overtake Yuki Tsunoda before the corner. We're going to go side by side through this long reprofiled section of the course. We're going to go round to the inside, and Tsunoda will try to fight us, but he can't. That's another position for us as we overtake Yuki Tsunoda for 11th place, and we edge much closer to the points as the way things stand. As up ahead, Mick Schumacher's trying to overtake Piastri around the outside. Piastri slow off the exit, but we have got brilliant piece of traction here. Could we overtake? Yes, we're going to go around the outside of Oscar Piastri, and we just make the move, and that's put us up into 10th position. And I think Piastri tries to hide it, and he knows it, because Piastri is coming into the pits as we speak. Now this, I want you guys, boys, to serve a brilliant stop here. So the Alpine team have overtaken Piastri. Ironically, where his academy's come from, it's still such a crime that this guy isn't in a Formula 1 seat this year. And it's safe to say, if he doesn't get in an F1 seat next year, I will riot. I will not be happy. If you saw this guy's F2 season, he fully deserves a crack at F1. But as you come down onto the next lap in lap 10, it's us and Mick Schumacher, and we get a brilliant exit off that high-speed chicane. We're going to do what Alonso did to Piastri and overtake around the outside. We almost get onto the gravel, but we've held the move, and that's us into 9th place ahead, and that is really an opportunity for points for us. So starting P19, we come into P9, and that's looking brilliant for us in terms of scoring another round of points here. As our... Wait, Piastri's in the pits again. He's already in the pits before, so what's obviously happened to him? So, okay, so he's come round, so he's fighting the McLaren of Daniel Ricciardo. Oh, and it looks like they've touched! Piastri and Ricciardo have touched, and that's put Piastri into the... Okay, how does that work? He's touched almost the middle of the wing, and that's taken off the side end plate. I have no idea how that's worked, but that has ruined the race for Oscar Piastri, who had to come into the pits afterward and change his nose, and that has ruined his chances of getting points. But speaking of pit stops, it's our chance to come in and make our one mandatory pit stop in this race, because we're going to get ourselves slowed down for the pit lane marker. And oh, we got a penalty! We got a 5-second penalty! We missed it by just 1 kph. We have got ourselves a 5-second penalty. That's changing everything in terms of the complexion of this race. But as we come out of the pits, it's lap 15, and these tyres are going to be absolutely stone cold, so we are going to have no grip, and we almost lose the back end coming out of the pits. And how these AI cars manage to warm up their tyres quick enough is just beyond me, because as you see, I've lost nearly 2 seconds on the straight alone, because Daniel Ricciardo's right behind us on medium tyres. You could argue definitely the faster set of tyres, but those tyres have done 8 laps, so he'll be losing some life. This is the guy that I think Piastri more went into Ricciardo, to be fair, but it's still civil war in Australia is never a good sign. But Ricciardo now's got a sniff of an opportunity here, as our tyres are not up to temperature yet. He's going to go round to the inside, to the outside of that long sequence of corners that I could barely speak. I'm so excited here. But Ricciardo doesn't quite make the move stick on us. We get a brilliant exit as our tyres just come up to temperature, especially on the fronts, as the rears are about 86, 85. The fronts are only just gone to 80. So now we finally got the heat into the tyres, so we can just about defend our position from Daniel Ricciardo. But before we actually came into the pits with Alonso, we were about 4 seconds down. We've lost 4 seconds to Alonso based on outlaps alone. And also, you need to find a better way of warming up these tyres as they come out the pits. As Max Verstappen tyres, and we're about to see why. And his engine's blown at, ironically, the same point where it retired in real life F1. Max Verstappen's engine is gone from the Red Bull powertrain, and he is going to bring that car to a halt. Ironically, not that far off where he retired in real life. So that's going to move us a step closer. In fact, no, that's going to move us into 8th place, rather. So potential 4 points are on the cards if we can build a 5-second gap now to Kevin Magnussen behind. But as you come around to lap 20, Magnussen is so fast down the straight. But as long as we get our corner exits right, we are going to be able to do fine. But actually, look on the screen. Our fuel mixture is in the negatives, so we are inevitably going to have to do some fuel saving at some point, but that is significantly going to change things in terms of our fight with Magnussen. We're going to have to lift off so early, just like we did on there, just so we can recover some fuel, short shift as early as we can as well, but that's going to hamper our lap time for sure. As we come down to lap 23, it was nearly 4 seconds the gap, and we go off! And that's really going to hurt us in terms. We're going to lose probably about a second or so by going off that corner there, as Magnussen gains on us more and more. I was about to say, the gap between us over the course of 3 laps fuel saving went down from about 4 to 2 seconds, and now it's gone to 1.3 seconds thanks to my little excursion on the gravel. So I don't see how we're going to be able to do this. I don't know how we're going to be able to hold Kevin Magnussen behind us. As we come around to the start of lap 25, the gap now is 0.6 seconds, so it's not a straight fight. I'm a sitting duck, to be honest, behind Magnussen. That's so weird to go over the AstroTurf, but it kicks out some dirt of all things. I don't know, maybe some drivers have been they've been going off and then just putting dirt onto it, but I don't know whether it's just a glitch in the game or whatever. But as for us, we have got a mountain to climb to make sure we continue scoring points in this race. It's really our gaps to Tsunoda we got to worry about. He's 6.4 behind us, so he's 1.4 behind us in aggregate. So it's going to be wise. I think we're not going to lose any time fighting Magnussen. In fact, what we're going to do, we're going to let the Haas go, and just by there, and we're going to get ourselves the DRS coming into the chicane, and we're going to do for the next few laps, we're just going to drag ourselves along with Magnussen's pace, so hopefully we can build a gap to Tsunoda and Schumacher behind us and maintain our chances of scoring points in this race. But that's the best thing we can realistically do, because that'll save us energy and fuel as well. But if you look behind, they've It's actually a fight going on between Tsunoda and Mick Schumacher, and that could play out into our hands as long as Schumacher doesn't get past. I've got a feeling the Haas is the faster car around this track, and as long as the Tsunoda can still hold Schumacher behind, then ninth place is as good as ours. As we go through this particular chicane right here, I've got some momentum, and now we actually got the fuel onto the green, but if we were to push outright, then that will put us back into the red. We've got to be extra careful on how we play this. I think the wise thing is just to stay behind Magnussen and use the DRS to continue saving fuel and energy, because we'll be able to use it just in case we are caught in a pinch. No. Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. Sensor issues. I know there's no genuine problems, but that's got me bloody nervous. And 3 laps before the end as well. I seriously hope it's not an engine issue. Not like we had in Bahrain. I don't need that, especially when I need to be scoring points after we could have been on for a podium last time in Saudi Arabia, as we have another retirement, and it's another engine failure, coincidentally enough, and it's Lance Stroll in the Aston Martin. Now, we're Mercedes powered, so that does make me a little bit nervous, especially with the engine source software glitches that we've been having, as we see Lance pulling off to the side, and that's unfortunately the end of the race for him. Well, with 3 or so laps to go, we just have to hope that this car holds on. But crucially for us, we're out of the DRS for Magnussen. Thankfully, we can use some energy to get ourselves back in, as long as Magnussen doesn't. Yes, Elvis, thank you very much. I already knew that. I already knew that as well. Thank you. Okay, so we're 6 tenths now. We've got the DRS, and surely, with the gap actually getting bigger between ourselves and Tsunoda, it's not going to be long for us. It's not going to be much more else we can do. But in fact, I think we should be able to do just enough to hold on to 9th place, as the gap between himself and Schumacher really is close. So those two must be fighting pretty closely with each other, as we've got the DRS off the final straight to get us through into here. But the story of this race is really what could have been, because it's a shame for Piastri, but I do have to kind of put that crash down to him. It kind of was his fault that he tangled with Daniel Ricciardo. But we're going to recover at least to get us some points, at least on P9. The Aussie home luck really has struck again, especially for Oscar Piastri. And it didn't help having civil war with Daniel Ricciardo in as well. As we come round to the start-finish straight, it's another dominant performance from Ferrari as Piastri saw them get lapped. Charles Leclerc wins the Australian Grand Prix and Carlos Sainz takes P2, but thankfully, like the real life in Austria, no engines are blown on Sainz's side. As for us, the gap is now 6.2 as Magnussen has gotten well out of our reach in terms of DRS. In fact, our energy reserves are pretty much out as well, as we're behind Schumacher and Tsunoda yet again fighting each other. But it's going to be probably too little too late for Schumacher to do anything. But all this has just actually saved my chances of getting P9. Wish it didn't have that penalty, but the mistakes were made in terms of how little that we fueled this car. It's steady now towards the finish straight. It's not the best race in the world, but still a good drive to recover from P19 to get P9 down under.
Out of the bag today. It's a great win. Natalie Pinkham, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we could talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those that we've witnessed today.
Here come our winners now, a thrilling race and a tremendous effort by Ferrari. Their history is well known, so it's no surprise to fans the world over to see them come out on top once again.
And that is Leclerc's third win in a row. Perez as well on the podium. But Ferrari are looking so dominant, which does make me wonder at what point did they make this game. It was probably around Australia when they saw Ferraris holding up. But I'm sure there'll be some patch to put everything back to ground zero. But as for now, Ferrari 1-2 in Australia. As we move ourselves up to P15, we stay at P15 rather in the standings. 5 points behind Piastri. We move down to P8 in the standings. But remember, our sponsorship goal is only to score 25 points. So 11 points in the first 3 races is not too bad there. As you see, Charles Leclerc, 77 points. So he's only missed out on 1 point in the first 3 races. Dominant win so far from him. That was a good result for us to boost our driver acclaim and our team acclaim not so long after as well. But I only wish those upgrades didn't fail at the start of this episode. Otherwise, we could have been looking at something completely different. But not too bad result there for us. Okay, what? Okay, I got to call rubbish on that. I lose 10 grand for not having any damage. Piastri loses his front wing and gets no damage reductions. Cody's, you need to fix this right now. So there we go, guys. That will be the end of this episode here. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. So now we're going to get on to the poll for what to come for the next episode. It's going to be a sprint race. So naturally, I've seen looking around all the way the other content creators are doing it. So I'm going to give you one of 2 choices here. Do you want me to do A, put it all into one big episode, so it'll be about 40 or 50 minutes long, or I can split it into a two-parter episode, one part being the sprint and the second part being the race, which both of those videos together will be longer overall, so I'll be able to get more within my sort of standard video quota. But let me know what you guys think, and if you want to vote on this, go to my Discord. My link's in the bio, and know where you can vote on what you want to see in this My Team Career Mode series. So once again, guys, thank you so much for watching, and if you did like this video, leave a like and leave a comment, and if you're new around here, obviously get subscribed and hit that notification bell icon as well to be notified of future videos whenever they come out. So once again, guys, I'm going to finish the video here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I've been Spark, and I will see you guys next time for the sprint round in Imola. Bye-bye.